we were pretty amazed. She got down in there and, you know,
Yeah.
and that first wave rolled over her head, and I thought, no, they ain't. So, the kids are ready.
And Bill can't make it tonight, right?
Oh, we can't?
I thought he was gonna be able to make it tonight, but he was not gonna be able to make it on the 12th.
I'm trying to, he's my next door neighbor, but I can tell you, I've seen, they were out of town.
Couldn't make it.
They were out of town over Thanksgiving.
Because I remember assuming he was going to, accuse himself, and so I didn't, well, it was a big deal anyway.
The 19th is the only day on which I can be available.
Yeah.
So
Is he essential?
he is I mean.
Does that
one
make our
person's
quorum?
opinion. He's been on the board a while. He is an attorney, that's our son, and so his skills are very valuable. And
Maybe so, but
what do you think? Bill Lyons.
He may have recused himself because Karen,
careful itself because
because,
and talk to really.
but he probably recused himself because of Karen's involvement with the library.
Well, yeah, that has to happen in an open meeting.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, have you gotten stuff sent to you, so you're good? I see you have a book in front of you, so you're.
That's the manual that I just received. And but I don't have anything else. Oh, I do, well, wait, I can bring it up. I got it attachments on my phone.
The only thing that's not online are the bylaws, which are really, at least in my opinion, really helpful because they tell you the steps. You know, in an actual hearing.
I'm sure they're in here.
I had to ask Karen for.
I haven't seen any of that.
I
Maybe forward to me or.
I will scan this. I don't have it online. That is. I will. I'm sorry, I should scan it.
Give it to me, and I'll.
You know what? I know how to work it.
Have the agenda.
Is that on the email? Must be.
There's 7 copies of the agenda right here.
You should see the sweaters I
know. They're fantastic.
You have to help me, right? And Mark's got into one of them.
That's it right there.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing, because I put it in and I pushed the button and it went thing up there. Mark.
No. Mark Margione is supposed to dial in.
Just, my picture should be so, I'm the alternate.
Meet. Hey. Good. Oh, not that.
How are you? Oh, you made it. Yes, I was able to cancel my trip mercifully.
Yeah, I got another issue right now. I'm supposed to click on closed caption, which I'm not sure where that is.
Did you do it?
Slide-
No, I was out doing stuff.
That's all right.
But I've got that all prepped.
One of those belts, really, it's a grinder. It's not all the things.
Okay,
It's like maybe a 40 or 60.
okay. What do you have on there?
Just,
80 or
you're
100?
not a fault, there's a lever beside.
Yeah. Use the roller, yeah.
And also if it sets the drift, there's a little adjustment. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
If you use.
It's been a while, yeah. My dad used to have one that we had that. But yeah, I'm excited to see, because it looks pretty good. I should have shown you a couple of scraps that we rubbed with some walnut oil, and it really brings out the grain. And it's like, oh, we should have thought about alternating it and then come. The first one.
Not the last.
Yeah.
By the way, I have one request.
Mhm.
Don't enter my standard any races.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
You know those harsh.
Yeah, just go on.
John, do you mind if I grab a pen out of the office? I left mine at home. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah, you get me one too.
Yep.
Please. Mine, I think is. Ryan.
We have our agenda copies. Stack those.
There's one on Sean's, I think, that he doesn't need. I think he just printed out 7. I'm gonna have to get some.
How's everyone coping with our through winter weather this week?
This is not true.
I know.
I got
It's gonna be cold, cold this weekend.
Yeah, could get to. I don't know, the new ice skating pond is looking slowly filling up. It's gonna be exciting to see. The new repository for golf balls.
Yeah. I've always said that the 7th hole wasn't challenging.
Where are you from originally?
I grew up outside of Philadelphia.
We could have,
Yeah, it's
well, they use
a lot of time here.
Yeah.
a lot of the fill dirt that they pulled out of the excavation, they used to level. Slightly level the 7th fairway, so it's not drastically sloping into the wood, so it's a more moderate.
Okay, so they give and they take.
I don't know if you follow Facebook at all, but over Thanksgiving, my son and I went out and found the remains of the old ski rope tow.
I
On
saw
the 7th green.
Yeah, that's
And so Randy Stearns was talking about, oh, Castine used to have the, I said, really? He goes, oh, the remains are still out there. You go, and sure enough, just passed down the hill from the 7th green. There's this giant electric motor out rusting, and then pulleys, some pulleys on the trees, and the cedar planks that, I guess it was a rope tow, but it was like a little raised path, and those cedar planks are all still, you can see them going down the hill.
It's kind of, get some brush and axes and they'll clear it out.
It was, Lisa at Historical Society found several articles in the Ellsworth American that talked about from the 60s. It was like an article, it's like they're starting it, then there's one, here's the update, and then they decided not to do it. It was over a span of about 2.5 years or so. But,
Not much of a ski.
well, it goes all the way down to the pond, the swing, so it's not.
Actually, if you've got kids, the golf course now that where the kids all.
On 6,
Yeah,
yes,
spectacular.
Yeah.
right.
And I got it. It's spectacular.
It would be fun if you had a little,
The rope with little kids, the rope tow's really the key part. It's very fun going down.
yeah,
It's
a
less
little,
fun carrying.
a little
forty.
inner tube. Yeah, you could do a little inner tube rope tow back up the hill with a little electric motor, probably somebody's.
But I love that. My guess is we're not gonna see that kind of snow again. And little for kids. Actually, we ended up in Vienna in Austria for 4 years, and of course, it's a religion there.
Yeah.
And they don't let the kids use lift for the first, anytime in December, they make them walk up. The idea is that you get fit. Because what happens when you ski is you get on the lift, you're not in shape, you jump off and you immediately break the leg. So, you could ski down. as
Like a picture table nice flower and,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when's the last time it had really enough snow for people to cross-country ski around?
3 years ago. It was good. Yes, it's all wasn't there a
Right.
couple of days.
I will copy these and I'll send it to everybody. Sorry. And get the machine.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, all right, so. A couple of changes to the agenda, but first and foremost, we need a acting chair to open the meeting. Volunteers.
I'll be happy to do the
Open meeting and confirm we have a quorum.
We do have a forum. You also the article here and the secretary. And now I would nominate Bill Lyon as the chair,
Right, second that.
and not because he's not here.
Yeah, this will teach you.
No, no,
I would second.
but maybe you all jump on it.
Uh.
Do you? Justin, how do you? Bill. Lyon.
Bill, as an, are we as an alternate, or we have a voice on that, so I support that, yeah.
Agreed. Five. What do we need to do next, sir? We need to elect a secretary. One.
Who motioned and seconded that, Bill?
I moved
Has
it.
anyone
Seconded
spoken
it.
with Bill?
Sorry?
Has anyone spoken with Bill about this?
No.
Okay. Very well.
I don't think he'd be surprised.
I don't think they'd be surprised.
Okay, very well.
Patricia, do you know?
Yeah, she lives.
I live next door.
Well,
Would you like me to take notes?
I got it. But tell somebody, wants a secretary.
Okay, so now we need nominations for secretary.
What are the principal responsibilities of the secretary?
Taking notes.
So your legal responsibilities for a meeting like this are to who makes the motion, who seconds the motion, and then the vote. And you need to pick down who's at the meeting, who, whether you've got a quorum, so right now I'll have to take down everybody's names, then, whether or not you have a quorum. And then, at time we open the meeting, time we close the meeting. For the ZBA specifically, it is a little bit more litigious than that. So typically, that's why you see it at the town will hire counsel when there's a ZBA meeting, so that the town attorney or whoever we hire to act as the ZBA's counsel would then put together a decision so that it's correct in all kinds of all the legalese.
It's really complicated. I mean, it's no simple feat. And not on all cases do we get an attorney. So Amy, well, I'm glad she's serving as a select board person. She was the best, but she had to do at least one on it out. So it's not.
Yeah, I probably painted a little bit more
It's-
rosy picture than it is.
But at least the town attorney would probably go over it. But I'd be happy to volunteer.
Bobby, I'd be happy to help you. If you'd like to volunteer, I can't commit to it full time work.
Unless someone else would like to volunteer.
I'm losing my marbles. At 84, you don't write down.
Okay, so we'll all nominate Bobby.
And I'll say.
Okay with everybody? Okay, I'll take minutes. Go on.
All right, so I read that as Bobby motioned himself as secretary and seconded by,
No, he did.
he motioned. Okay, so Bobby, then I'll defer to you as the secretary. The Agenda is incorrect because the town attorney waved off at the last minute on attending the meeting, is not zoomed in. So we can't really talk about anything further on the agenda. So my recommendation would be to discuss a vice chair of the ZBA specifically for this case, for this appeal. As I am, well, as we may see that we have a recusal.
Is Bill the only member of the, that's not here? Are there other people that, and so I'm just, can you explain what the need is for the quorum and how many other people are Patricia and I alternates, or you're looking for somebody to step up and be a permanent member?
No, it is up to the ZBA. 3 members constitute a quorum.
Okay.
So, you've got 3 here that constitute a quorum. It is then up to the ZBA as when official business is opened as to whether or not the first alternate, which would be you, the second alternate, which would be you, Patricia, fleet up as a regular member for that specific appeal.
Okay.
Okay.
If someone has to recuse themselves or something like that.
Not necessary.
If you're here as an alternate, you can participate.
Yeah.
And I did that in appeals 2 years ago.
You can certainly ask questions. You can, that sort of stuff as far as voting goes. That's up to the board on whether they need it. Right now, there's 3, which constitutes quorum.
Okay.
They can act on anything that's in front of the ZBA. And then, did that answer your question or did I?
No, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
So maybe get some more grounding in the appeal for next week before we talk about a vice chair. I imagine we might want to.
No.
Okay.
That's,
So we can vote. Yeah, understood.
I have your packages printed up here. But any conversations that you might have might be considered outside of the bounds
Understood.
of the agenda, and that is not allowed. So I've got your read aheads. However, there's training on the 10th of December, ZBA and planning board training. However, it is the same training is applicable to every board, committee, commission in this town.
Mhm.
In that ex parte communication, i.e. email chat.
Right.
Amongst board members should not happen.
It's something.
It's sunshine.
Yeah.
Anything you do on your own personal computer is discoverable under the law. So, it can be subpoenaed. And so that's why, and it leads to the connotation of an electronic darky, smoky back room. And so, the discussing of the pending appeal is something we can't do because one, it was on the agenda for a very specific and narrow focus, but now because the attorney's not here, I can say that the question that I posed to the town attorney is the type of appeal that
And that was the discussion at the select board meeting on Monday.
and whether it will be a de novo or whether it will be just a straight appellate appeal. De novo leads you down one path, straight appeal leads you down another, and then we have not yet received that legal opinion back from town council. I was hoping to get them here tonight so that they could discuss that with you all. But
If you go through,
go ahead.
if you go through the steps, and I'm sorry, you don't have copies in front of you. You go through the steps, it's very hard not to have a de novo because we're gonna find everybody who's here, any interested parties get registered at the beginning. And then we can ask questions, they can ask questions. And at that point, you're necessarily wandering out of the bounds of what's already been decided by the boards. And so, at least in my experience, he says as he scratches his chin, it's very hard not to have a de novo hearing.
Yeah.
And precedence has been that they've all been de novo hearings in recent. But this is also a unique appeal. It's one arm of the town appealing another arm of the town.
Does Andy make that determination or did we take Andy's recommendation?
You don't take anyone's recommendation but your own counsel.
Right, but sorry, but I mean, as to the type of appeal, is that up to this board to decide, or is that?
Yes, yes. And then, I mean, for this appeal, town council will be representing the ZBA, and that'll be the only, attorney that's hired by the town in the room. Okay? So, I'm assuming on the twelfth, Mary Costigan will be, in the room with you all and giving you counsel. That we were not able to go through that little piece might require a pre-meeting on the twelfth, say 4:30. An executive session just for Mary to sit down with you all to go through the how-tos, but not talking anything about the appeal. But I will leave that up to the recommendation of the town attorney on that.
I'm really sorry she couldn't make it, because it would have been a good time to get us back up to speed.
It would have been an excellent time. So 4 p.m. on the 10th, there will be ZBA training,
Is that 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
I am not able to make that, but I understand that it will be recorded and can watch it.
And other than that, Mr. Secretary, I have nothing further other than, do you all have any other business
So do you plan to give these to us? When do you plan to give these to us?
tonight?
Tonight, okay. And so once we get them, the only thing we need to remember is that when we meet at TNC, we shouldn't say, can you believe that they're doing this or that?
Or as someone already told me tonight, people have already started asking them about this appeal. That's not anyone's business, but the ZBA's business at this point.
Okay, we are so cautioned. Anybody else did? I mean, is there something else that would be helpful?
Are we locked in for the hearing next week? Like, what happens if we can't talk to our attorney ahead of that? I'm just selfishly thinking about my own schedule.
We are locked in.
Okay.
And then the reason being is that by the zoning ordinance, we have to have the hearing with a certain amount of days. It has to be in the newspaper, a certain amount of, for a certain amount of issues, et cetera, et cetera. It has to be in 2 issues of the paper. I have to have the butter notifications out at least 14 days ahead of the hearing, and you have to have the hearing within, it's either 30 or 45 days. I forget the zoning ordinance. I don't have it memorized. And so to meet that timeline is when I said, hey, the 5th and the 12th seems to be the sweet spot, but it has to take place before the 19th.
Could you just bring up the last appeal that we had here? As we went through it, it became clear that nobody in the room really wanted that appeal, and the parties said, let's take a break. And went off to attorneys, and 20 minutes later they came back. And it was a satisfactory solution. Are the parties still at a point where they are not encouraged to can somebody still go back and say, or can they do that?
Not a question I can answer in this meeting, and not a question really that we can answer.
And that's what I mean, the merits of it, but just as you mentioned, 2 town institutions. I'm gonna end up with Bangor Daily News here again. We're gonna detract from the reputations of our institutions in this town again, no matter what. And I think that was a really good outcome.
Well, remembering what he had said, he said that at any point in the process, parties can express a desire, and so we then take a temporary break. So I'm not answering for him, but our attorney told us last time that they have to do that at any point. It
But it has to be at the instigation of the parties.
has to be at the instigation of parties.
We can't say, go figure this out.
No, good point.
No, de novo basically puts you in the decision place. You are the decider of the issue. Okay? And an appellate, just a straight appeal, would mean that the written record becomes the only evidence. De novo being, what's new. Forget what the Latin is. Mark, you could probably tell me.
Probably.
From the, thank you. But, you know, you all become the deciding body, subject to another appeal to Superior Court. There's nothing else. We have our officers elected. I would,
Sorry, is it your strong recommendation that we elect a vice chair?
well, I'm just saying for this appeal, because we know that we have a member who has been elected chairman that is married to the, as of, well, just until about a month ago, the chairman of the Library Board of Trustees.
Could I make a counter suggestion, which is, let's get to the meeting and let Bill recuse himself, and then we, the board, decide that we need to appoint an acting.
Yep, but we could know what we're gonna do at that point.
So no, it's not a requirement, but yes, it is, I'm just trying to
Okay.
read the game a little further ahead than probably I should.
And then last question, are you going to try to schedule another meeting with the town attorney, or can we at this point not hit notice requirements? So that would have to happen before the meeting.
What I'll try to do is schedule a 30-minute primer before the 5 PM start of the zoning board of appeals, just so that you all can meet with the town attorney to talk only process,
Yeah.
It's
not the appeal.
and then we can have an executive session. So we're talking 4:30 on 12.
Yes. And that's subject to change, but that's the best idea I have right now, having heard nothing back from the town attorney.
Are we expressing our displeasure? Yeah.
We'll take that offline.
Okay.
Is there anything else that we should do tonight?
Congratulate Patricia and my Navy volunteer, never volunteers for anything. Well,
So are you,
I'll get those out to everybody. I've got those electronically, I can send them.
get Brooke? Oh, you know what, and Mark, you know what, you don't take Brooke, I'll take Brooke and Mark. Okay, that. And just, have you read Article 14 of the zoning, of the ordinance, the zoning ordinance?
I have the ordinance.
Great. You've got a man.
Is there an article?
Yeah, there is an article. It is about the zoning board. It's about 8 pages long. It's buried in that zoning. Okay, all right.
Motion to adjourn?
Sorry, who made it? Shocking.
I can't make it. I second it, whoever.
I'll have the minutes ready.